different since he's a little bit older now than doesn't. I'd like all of you to stand up, please, and stretch for just a minute. We've been here a while. I don't know about you, but I don't like those thong underwear things. So straighten up your underwear and then you can sit down. Great. It's good to be here. It's good to be anywhere when you get this old. I want y'all to know I was up in Havre, Montana with Betty Lund and her group a few years ago. Flew into Billings and it was just wonderful. But then, I got on Big Sky Airways. Betty told me this known up there is Big Scare. I walked in there and I had my briefcase and they said, Mr. Weber, you need to put your briefcase on these scales. I said, why? They said, we need to weigh it. I said, why? And they said, well, we have to adjust the balance in the plane. Then they asked me to get on the scales. And I said, why? And they said, so we'll know how much gas to put in the plane. I said, fill it up. I said, I want a window seat. The pilot said, we don't have but one, and I'm going to use it. We started out from Billings, and we rode, and we rode, and we rode, and we rode. And I looked over to this lady sitting next to me, big lady. She took her baby pictures by satellite. I said, lady, if you lied about your weight like I lied about mine, we're going to drive to Harris. It is good to be here. You read in your program, I used to be a preacher. I come from a little town in Louisiana called Faraday, Louisiana, Jonathan. You might remember Faraday, Louisiana is the home of Jerry Lee Lewis, Mickey Gilly, and Jimmy Lee Swagger. I was about to starve to death, and I went over to Jimmy Lee's house one time, and I said, can you teach me how to preach? He said, sure I can. Can you sweat? I said, yes, I can sweat. He said, can you cry? I said, yeah, I can cry. He said, what you think about real ugly women? I said, well, I don't like them. He said, well, 2 out of 3 ain't bad. He said, what you got to do is scare the hell out of people. And I said, well, I think I can do that. So my first sermon, I got up and I hit the pulpit. Won't be long before everybody around here is going to be dead. Old man started laughing in the back. I said, mister, you must have not heard me. I said, it won't be long before everybody around here is going to be dead. He said, I ain't from around here. But I've had some real experiences preaching. Jonathan, if you ever preach, if they ever ask you to preach in a church that's got a glass pulpit, they show your pants are zipped up. Before you get behind, because I tell you, they invited me one time and it was on TV. And I looked down and my pants was unzipped and you could see right through that. I said, shall we pray? You know what happened? I zipped my tie up in my fly. And I said, shall we pray again? But I have had some experience. I'm from northeast Louisiana, and well, we got up there as Southern Baptist, and it was years before I ever saw a Catholic. So we had a Ford dealership that opened up, and a man from South Louisiana down in Crowley bought the Ford dealership and came up there. Well, he was a Catholic, so he brought a Catholic priest with him. And my grandpa, I'm from a family, those of you that heard me before, know my mama's got 13 sisters, no brothers, 13 sisters. And I'm the oldest grandchild in the family. My grandpa's name was Leon Kirby, and my grandma's name was Mary. And after the 13th daughter was born, my grandpa told my grandma, said, Mary, I'm naming the next one Leon. I don't give a damn if it's a boy or a girl. So I got Aunt Leon. They say the morning I was born, he was walking up and down the street, and everybody patting him on the back and said, "Well, Leon, you finally got your boy." He said, "Yeah, we do. We proud of him." They said, "Who's he look like?" He said, "We don't know. We ain't looked at his face yet." But my grandma and grandpa went to town one Saturday night to make groceries. And they was walking up and down, and they run into this Catholic priest, first time he'd ever seen one. He walked up to him and said, "Fella, I hate to tell you this, but your collar's on backwards." He said, "No, you don't understand. I'm a father." He said, "Man, I got 14 daughters. I'm a father too, but I wear my collar straight." He said, "No, you don't understand. I'm a father of thousands." He said, "What?" He said, "I'm a father of thousands." He said, "Buddy, straighten your shirt up and turn your pants on backwards." So I tell you what, I got some family. I got an uncle named Uncle Hamburger Bob. And everybody thinks Uncle Hamburger's crazy, but he's really not. He's kind of sly. But he's a contrary old devil. I mean, he's got a pet zebra named Spot. And he was walking down, and the county was digging a big hole for something, and the supervisor was standing there, and Uncle Bob went by, and he says, "What's that hole for?" Well, that county supervisor was about up to here with people asking him questions. He said, "We're burying every son of a bitch in Concordia Parish in that hole. That's what it's for." Uncle Bob said, "Who's going to cover it up?" I'm telling you, those kind of things happen to us all the time. I got all these aunts and cousins and everything. I got an Aunt Iffy. Aunt Iffy been married 9 times. And I never know who her current husband is, and I just call him Uncle Adolf. But Aunt Iffy was married to a man named Otis Glenn McDonald, and he had a farm. I can remember that, see, because Uncle McDonald's farm. I can remember that. So Uncle Otis was a little bit bad about drinking, so he comes in one Saturday night and walks in, and Aunt Iffy was making supper, and he patted her on the back and said, "Iffy, you remind me of my Alice Chalmers tractor." She said, "Get your hands off me, I'm trying to cook. Go on in there and watch TV." So he comes out a little later, and he pats her a little lower and said, "Iffy, you don't remind me of my Alice Chalmers tractor." He said, "You remind me of my John Deere combine." She said, "Get out of here, Otis, I've got to cook supper." So that night they was getting ready to go to bed, and he patted her a little bit lower and said, "Iffy, let's just go to bed and have some fun." She said, "You think I'm cranking up this $150,000 combine for a half a ear of corn? You crazy!" Uncle Otis is going to town one day. He's combing what little hair he had. And Aunt Iffy said, "Otis, where are you going?" He said, "I'm going down and get me some of that Social Security." She said, "You can't get Social Security. You don't have a birth certificate." They didn't even have birth certificates when you got born. He said, "I don't care. I'm going to get me some of that Social Security." So he comes in about 6 o'clock in the evening, and he has a Social Security check in his hand. And Iffy said, "Otis, how in the hell did you get that Social Security check?" She said, I went down there and opened my shirt up, showed them that gray hair, and they gave me that Social Security check. She said, "You should have unslipped your fly. You've got full disability." But you know, when you live in a family like I live in, you never know what's going to happen. We got some that they so dumb, they just, I got an uncle asked me the other day why they didn't make 2-story mobile homes for people that's got money. You talk about a redneck. Man, his tree don't park. But we got to deal with all kinds of people. I'm going to run through this real fast because I know we've been here a while. We got something going here right now in about 2 minutes. But we had to go through, I speak to a lot of groups, and everybody in politics has to deal with every kind of person you come in contact with. So I kind of got them classified. I call this my Boneyard speech. First group of people you got the jawbone people. God, they love to talk, and they love to criticize, and they love to tell you what ought to happen. They ain't going to do a damn thing, but they going to tell you how everything ought to be done. You know people like that. You can go out on Saturday morning, raise your hood, stick your head in the car, and they'll just gather around to give you advice. They love to talk about how bad they feel. They love to give you, used to walk in and say, how are you this morning? They say, oh, I'm not doing good. My arthritis is bad, my hemorrhoids are bothering me. He said, I just didn't sleep good last night. And you say, God, why did I ask? Go tell your doctor he gets paid to listen to crap like that. Those people are something. They're not going to do anything. They're going to tell you how to do it. This little first grader was going running in a race, and he ran, and he ran, and he ran, and he crossed the finish line first. And he said, me won, me won, me won. His teacher said, oh, wait a minute, that's not correct English. So she walked up and says, I won, I won, I won. He said, the hell you did. You didn't even run. Jawbone people like to tell lies. They can stretch the truth. I have trouble with my youngest son. He does that. His teacher called me one day and said, Clyde Ray said, I don't know what I'm going to do with Philip. He can't tell the truth. I said, what do you expect? His dad is a politician. His granddad's a used car dealer. Said he come in one day and said, Miss Hammett, you're not going to believe this. Said, me and my daddy went fishing. We caught 17 catfish, and they weighed 50 pounds apiece. She said, oh, you know that's not right, Philip. He said, yes, it is. She said, I was going to get him back. Next morning, I was going to school, and I was walking down the street and said, I told Philip, I said, this big old gorilla jumped on me, and he was about to kill me, and he had me down. This little old dog about that tall jumps on him and kills him and saves my life. Says, you believe that? He said, yeah. That's my dog. So and then, of course, you got the tailbone people. The tailbone people can tell you everything that happened in the O.J. trial. Because they sat right there on their tail and watched it from start to finish. They can tell you everything happens on As the World Twirls. They can tell you every character and who's dating, who's fighting, who's sleeping with who. They can tell you all that stuff. Because they just sit on their tail and watch it all the time. Tailbone people are lazy. I got an uncle. Had a hernia transplant so he wouldn't have to pick up anything. These tailbone people or something, they're just the kind of people that just they get in the way. And then you got the wishbone people. Wishbone people are pretty good people. They wish things would straighten up. They're not going to do a lot to straighten it up. I kind of fall in that category. I wish things would like they used to be. I wish we could go back to the time where women wore ponytails and earrings and men wore jockey shorts. But I don't guess we'll ever see those days again. I do a lot of wishing. I finished a little school called Louisiana College in Pineville, Louisiana. Little Baptist school. I wanted to go to LSU, but I couldn't pass the entrance exam. I went down, and that's bad because, if you play football, if you drive through real slow with your windows down, they'll throw a diploma in. Well, I couldn't pass the entrance exam. I'm sorry, Hart, I had to say that. But they had 50 questions. Last question was, what's what? And I said, well, I don't know. And they said, well, you can't go to LSU. So go home, study a year, come back, take the test again. I went home, studied a year, came back, took the test, 50 questions. Last question, what's what? I said, I don't know. Well, that summer I was with my girlfriend. I was running outboard in a boat, and I was sitting in the back. She was standing up in the front in a bikini, and we went under one of those cypress trees, and the limb caught her right there and jerked the top of her bikini off. I said, what's that? She said, what's what? Hell, if I knew that, I'd be a sophomore at LSU. Yeah, I wish I could go back to those days when you call somebody on the telephone, an actual living, breathing human being would answer. Aren't you about up to here?
No, I'm up to here.
With that kind of crap?
Your call is important to us.
Bullshit. If it was important, they'd have somebody to answer the damn phone. Press number 1 if you want to hear crappy music. Press number 2 if you want to hear a 5-minute commercial. Press number 3 if you want to be totally ignored. I hate that. We got a recorded 911 at home. You call and they say, I have to write this down. Thank you for calling 911. If you're being murdered, press number 1. If you have a split personality, punch 2, 3, and 4. If you're battling Satan, press 666. If you're being assaulted, press pound, pound, pound. And if you're already dead, stay on the line and an operator will be with you. Folks, I called some of y'all's offices and I got that just saying. I have a question to ask, and they got 19,000 responses, but not to the question I want to ask for some reason. But we live in those kind of times. And then we have the bonehead people. For some reason, they're attracted to county commissioners' offices like dogs to the light. I had one of my county commissioners come in the other day, had something under his arm, and I said, what is that? He said, this is the greatest invention ever was. I got it down at Walmart. I said, what is it? He said, it is wonderful. I said, what is it? He said, it's a thermostat. I said, what does it do? It keeps hot things hot and cold things cold. I said, what you got in it? He said, chili and iced tea. I mean, we got to work with these people, folks. They do our budget. And they ain't made enough to file an income tax return, most of them in years. I was with one in the shopping center the other day, and when he was in front of this director, he said, you were here. He said, what around the hell they knew where I was? There's something. He traded his TV in on the VCR. My Uncle Hamburger's a lot like that. Like I say, he's smart in some ways and dumb in others. He invented a solution that will dissolve anything. You just can't find nothing to put it in. Of course, he don't know the difference from Vaseline and putty. It's the reason his windows keep falling out. But I tell you what, we have to do those kind of things and talk to those kind of people. It's just unbelievable. Bob Rubenstein was down at my home not long ago, and I took him out to our very finest restaurant in Faraday, Louisiana, to eat breakfast. Mom's Cafe. They came out and they laid the plate in front of them, and Bob looked at the grits and he said, what the hell is that? The waitress says, the mayor's grits. Bob says, take it away from here. It looks like sawdust and wallpaper paste. Get it out of here and bring me a bagel. She come back about 10 minutes with a little hunting dog about that tall. Of You know, then you have the backbone people, and that's the reason I love Acreide, because this is where the backbone people come. The 10% of the people in any organization, from the Boy Scouts or your church or anything else, about 10% of the people make things go. The other 90% fall into one of these other categories, either altogether or partly. You know, but they can make mistakes. Backbone people make mistakes. My mother has a flower shop. And she's 86 years old, and she works every single day at the flower shop. I go by and drink coffee with her before I go to work. I can walk in there and I can read her like a book. I walked in one day and she had this bad look on her face. I said, Mama, what's the matter? She said, I made a terrible mistake. I said, what is it? She said, you know Mr. Stegall that has that TV place downtown? I said, yeah. Said he opened a new one over in Jonesville. Said, you remember that? I said, yeah. She said, he called me up a while ago to the bank, sent him some flowers, and I had them delivered. Said, but then he called me up and said, Miss Webber, I hate to tell you this, but the ribbon on the flowers you sent me have rest in peace on it. I said, well, that's not too bad. She said, that ain't the bad part. There's somebody over here at the funeral home that's got one that says, good luck in your new location. Folks, backbone people have certain characteristics, and one of them, they're able to communicate. Do you know that I know that you're tired of hearing about people, about communication? You say, I can communicate. That's not true. We can talk, but sometimes what we're saying and what somebody's hearing is altogether different. I was going to New Orleans to speak the other day, and I decided I'd go on the back road, so I got lost as usual, stopped on the side of the road and asked this old guy, I said, how do you get to New Orleans? He said, most of the time my son-in-law takes me.
This ends side A. To continue, please stop the tape and turn it over.
He answered me just as truthfully as he possibly could. This preacher was riding down the road one day, and he saw this man on the side of the road, and he said, I'm getting that man. So he stopped and said, hey, brother, how you doing? He said, I'm doing fine. He said, are you a member of the Christian family? He said, no, I'm not. Christian family lives down the road about 6 miles. He said, that's not what I mean. He said, I'm saying, are you lost? He said, no, sir, I'm not. He said, I've lived right here about 15 years, and I am not lost. He said, that's not what I mean. Are you ready for the judgment day? He said, well, I don't know. When's it going to be? He said, well, it may be today, and it may be tomorrow. He said, let me tell you something. When you find out exactly when it's going to be, how about letting me know? My wife's probably going to want to go both days. Yeah, we hear things about halfway. This doctor was walking home one night, and he went in and dropped in to have a beer, and one of his patients was just a boogieing out on the floor with a good-looking girl. He said, man, what are you doing? He said, I'm taking your advice. And the doctor said, well, what do you mean you're taking my advice? He said, you told me to be carefree and get a hot mama. He said, no, I didn't. I said, be careful. You got a heart murmur. Somebody told me the other day, what you get when you cross a Jehovah's Witness and an atheist. Somebody knocks on the door for no apparent reason. Oh, one of them bonehead deals. You know, we had this incident happen at home not long ago. We live in a poverty area. Vote buying and welfare is all we got. And we got a man that ran for Senate that got beaten. He's trying to do away with the vote buying. Well, occasionally a jury duty check comes through, but other than that, we're pretty... So we had these two old boys, and they was looking for a job. One of them had finished the 3rd grade, and the other one finished the 6th grade. Well, they saw this ad on TV where the National Guard was giving a bonus to join up. So they decided they better join up. Well, the one in the 3rd grade said, man, we can't pass the test. We don't have enough education to pass. He said, I do. said, I tell you what, we'll make a plan. So they go to join up, and the recruiting sergeant really needed to beat his quota. He was way down. He was glad to see them. So they went in, took their physical, did real well. So they were getting ready for their mental test, and the one that finished the 6th grade said, look, I'm going to go in first. And I'm going to memorize the answers to the questions. And when I come out, I'll tell you the answers to the question. And the other 3rd grader said, that sounds fun. Well, when it went in, finished 6th grade, went in, and recruiting sergeant says, what if I punch you in the right eye? What would you be? He said, I'd be half blind. He said, what if I punch you in the left eye? He said, I'd be whole blind. He said, you pass. So he goes out and he tells this other old guy, he said, look, it's a simple test. When you go in, the answer is half blind and whole blind. Can you remember that? Oh, yeah. So he goes in and the recruiting sergeant said, okay, I'm giving you a test. If I cut off your right ear, what will happen? He said, I'll be half blind. He said, and if I cut off your left ear, what will happen? He said, I'll be whole blind. And the recruiting officer said, what do you mean you'll be blind? He said, my damn head will fall over my head. And folks, you got to have a sense of humor. Do you know that there is a lot of people in this world that don't have a sense of humor? Listen, I speak 75 times a year, and every time I go to a place to speak, there's usually some hatchet-faced old biddy. Poster child of hemorrhoids. Sitting out there just daring me to make her laugh. Usually an old retired English teacher. Waiting for me to dangle a participle. I never will forget, my mama went to my PTA one time, and she asked my teacher, said, how's Clyde Ray doing in school? She said, well, he's doing real good, but he's having a lot of trouble with his dangling participle. She said, he can't help it. Been that way since he's 4. Got it caught his tricycle. But I tell you what, folks. I can hardly wait to hear this speech. I've been working on it so hard, and I got quit because we got some educational stuff, and I can do some educational stuff, so if you're taking notes, this will be number 1. There's some things in this world I don't understand. I don't understand why they can't make hospital gowns that neat in the back. Y'all, what is cured ham? Y'all ever thought about that? Cured of what? And is it going to have a relapse on my plate? I never did understand that. We drive on parkways and park on driveways. It just don't make sense. They sell weenies in packs of 10 and buns in packs of 8. Did y'all know that? I don't understand that. And people. I don't understand people. You walk up to somebody tomorrow and you say, I lost my wallet. And they'll say, where'd you lose it? Well, if I knew where I lost it, damn it, it wouldn't be lost. Said, I've been in the hospital. They said, you been sick? No, I could wear them little gowns you butt hated. So we buried Mr. Smith yesterday. Did he die? No, he is planting early this year. Y'all remember a few years ago when we was in Albuquerque? I had to leave Albuquerque early and go to Houston to speak. And I got into Dallas-Fort Worth late. Most modern airport in the world. You come in on gate 496 and leave on gate 3. No matter where you're coming from or where you going, that's what happened. But I ran around and I had my briefcase with me, and there was one chair in the waiting room and it had a newspaper on it. And I was so tired I just sit down right on that newspaper. And I was sitting there for about 3 minutes, and a woman comes up, taps me on the shoulder and said, Mister, are you reading that newspaper? I got up, turned the page, sat back down. I said, yes, ma'am, I am. Ever notice signs on the side of the road? There's one coming in here between here and the airport, big old sign on the side of the road that says, learn to read. Reckon who the hell they put that up there for? And those of you that know me, and I've been to your place to speak, you know I love to shop. I don't like to hunt. I don't like to kill little animals. But I love to shop. And I've been to every mall and to just about every one in this country. And there's always at least one store that has a sign out front of it that says, ears pierced while you wait. What you going to do, drop them off Wednesday, put them on Friday? And there's some things, folks, that only experience in life teaches you. Don't squat with your spurs on. You don't have to do that once. You'll never do it again. Do not keep your preparation H and your toothpaste in the same drawer. Or you won't be able to replace it. And take life with a grain of salt, slice of lemon, and a shot of tequila. And there are things I do understand. I understand laughter. Folks, I love to laugh, and I love people that laugh. That's the reason I like Acrobat. There's some pains in the butts around here. You all know who they are. We can get them to stand up and raise their hand, but we don't need to. But I learned a long time ago, you can't please everybody. Some people object to the fan dancer, and some object to the fan. You can't please everybody, so it's no use to try. I just want you to remember, yesterday's history, we can do nothing but learn from it. Tomorrow is a mystery. Today is a gift. That's the reason we call it the present. Thank you. God bless you.